Locked On Podcast Network presents Locked On Sports Today.
With their backs against the wall, Tyrese Haliburton and the Pacers responded in a big way. The NBA Finals is headed to 7 after Indiana blew out the Thunder. How does OKC respond? And there's a team in the SEC you've not heard about ready to take over men's college basketball.
I'm Peter Macowski, starting your day with the can't-miss stories and biggest debates in sports. You're Locked On Sports Today.
Searching all major sports. Found.
Let's start with the biggest story.
Facing elimination at home, Indiana in the second quarter goes on a 30-9 run. They take control of Game 6, ultimately cruise to a 108-91 win to force a Game 7 for the whole dang enchilada. Tony East from Locked On Pacers in Indiana from the arena joins me now. And Tony, you got a chance to hear from the guys post-game. We know in these moments, survival is tough to replicate for an opponent. Did this feel like more than that to you and to them?
Yeah, the survival would be scraping it out, finding a way, clawing, scrapping. Like, they just kicked their butt for almost 48 minutes. I mean, it was 10-2 OKC right away. Yeah. And then dominant Pacers, like, for the next 2.5 quarters, the end of the fourth, whatever. It was garbage time. No one cares. Like, they were just excellent, right? This is their ethos. I say that word a lot talking about them because they always talk about their team as an ecosystem, which is sharing the ball. Like, any one player can be good at any time. And Obi Toppin did reach 20, but they won Game 1 without a 20-point score. They almost won this game without a 20-point score, and yet their offense still feels threatening. And in this one, they combined it with the 9 that you just said was over 9 minutes. Like, good defense for long stretches of a basketball game, which is now what people know the Pacers for. They did everything to their highest level, even with a hobbled star player. It's as good as they can be, and a level that they'll hope to carry into a Game 7 on the road.
Yeah, 21 turnovers for Oklahoma City.
Wow.
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was one of the biggest culprits of that. To what do you attribute, whether it's defense or Oklahoma City just having some sloppy turnovers? Why was that a difference in this game?
Yeah, I thought their trapping was really good and timely on the stars, especially of Oklahoma City, right, who have been killing them all series. 40 for J-Dub last game, 31 for Shea. They've had good performances from other guys, especially when it comes to three-point shooting, but those two have ripped them up so much that they were coming with late traps, try to make them beat them in any other way, and those traps were really effective throughout this game. I don't even think those two, as individual scores, were so bad. They were 13 for 28 in this game. That's fine, right? That's not awesome, but it's fine. But they combined for 3 assists, right? And that's what those traps try to do, is make it hard for you, force you to pass or make it harder for you to do so. That's where a lot of those turnovers came from, and that's where a lot of the pressure that really forced the OKC offense to be like, wait, what are we doing? Oh, crap, we're too late to it. That's where it came from, and that's just great play from the Pacers, and that is something certainly that OKC will have to adjust to, but they'll have to adjust, right? That's the whole point of a series and the whole point of a playoffs. The Pacers deserve a ton of credit for that, and that's only one part of it, right? Because as we've seen twice in the series, the Pacers have been over 20 turnovers themselves. They have to take care of the ball to keep up in the possession battle today. 10, that's got to be their lowest in the series. I haven't double-checked that, but they've had a million, it feels like, every game. They talked about their ball security being important to getting going in this game leading up to it, and they stayed true to that with only 10 as they played pretty well.
Yeah, they had 2 late into the first half. I mean, that the ability for them to take care of the ball in the face of this Oklahoma City historic defense, certainly something that played a key role in this one. There was also a point in the first half where Oklahoma City was shooting 9% from 3. You're not going to win a lot of NBA games when that's the case.
Well, they won Game 4 going 3 for 20, so it's the OKC way apparently in this building.
Yeah, well, and you would think if you're an OKC fan, you're going, okay, home for Game 7. The role players are going to shoot a little bit better. We've seen that in this series. Can you give some sort of glass half full piece of this for Oklahoma City? Was there anything that you're like, yeah, well? Or was this just a butt kicking? You burn the tape and you go in. If you're Oklahoma City, you got to just go and try.
Yeah, you've already nailed parts of it. They're not going to shoot that bad. They're not going to turn it over that much, right? They won 68 games. That's the glass half full take.
Turns out.
Yeah, they're really good, and they haven't lost back-to-back games in ages. At home, I don't think they have all season, right? It's certainly still a tall task for this Pacers team, but the copium for both teams is the same, right? it's game 7 of the finals. Like, you just don't know. Like, we could talk about all these, and I will talk about all these past things these teams have done and all the basketball things that got them to this point of the series and all the players and all the stars and all the adjustments. Like, don't get me wrong, they all matter. Like, this is what these teams will be talking about amongst themselves for the next 2 days. But, like, it just feels different. Like, they'll go out on the floor and be like, oh, my God, like, so much of, like, my life and legacy and, like, the 20x years of my life of hard work have been, like, for this exact thing that I'm doing right now. Like, you never know how that's going to rattle or shake a guy in a game, in a series, whatever. And the Pacers clobbered the Knicks and MSG in a game 7 last year. The Thunder clobbered the Nuggets in a game 7 this very season. Like, they both have reasons to feel like they'll have an advantage mentality-wise, and you just never know. And that's why we have and can talked about all these things and mentality, and that's great. It's like, shrug. It's game 7 of the finals. The road team was only won once since the 1970s. We'll see. You just don't know.
You can stay up to date all year on the Indiana Pacers by subscribing to Locked On Sports Today and Locked On Pacers on YouTube or your favorite podcast app. You're Locked On Sports Today. Coming up, the Thunder failed to get it done in Game 6 of the finals. Before we get to that, Arkansas's baseball team is cursed. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place, so stop just managing your money and start building wealth. Instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch to check your finances, track spending, and even plan long-term goals. Managing money with your partner is smoother than ever. You can track shared and personal accounts, set goals, and stay on the same page without the stress. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNFL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNFL for half off your first year. Arkansas's baseball program might be cursed. The Razorbacks came up just short of the championship series again after a devastating 9th inning blunder against LSU, allowing the Tigers to punch their ticket to the title in dramatic fashion.
LSU beats Arkansas 6-5 in one of the most dramatic games any of us will ever see. And for a team that has won 7 national championships and owns quite literally the greatest win in the history of the sport, 1996, the national championship, Warren Morris's dramatic walk-off home run. Anytime you talk about one of the most epic wins ever, most dramatic wins ever, it's not hyperbole. It has to stack up. And this one certainly did that. And LSU beats Arkansas 6-5, but to do it on the field as well was awesome. So some of the biggest moments that we'll talk about forever. Jared Jones, a homer to tie it at 3, and then the game-winning knock to win it in the bottom of the 9th. Zach Cowan, 5 1/3 when you had to have it. And LSU is off to the championship series.
Over in Major League Baseball, the Brewers outslugged the Cubs.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about right there. McGill throwing the double play ball, getting squeezed in the 9th inning. But the Brewers come out with a split. Hey, everybody, Chuck Freeman, instant reaction. Locked On Brewers. Oh, Jesus. Brewers were a minus 4,000 favorite on the live line at one point. They had the 8-3 lead. Pete Crow Armstrong on deck, and that double play ball to finish off the game. Yeah, they blew an 8-3 lead. Well, almost blew an 8-3 lead. They got the 8-7. But man, big win. Now on to Minnesota. That would have been a brutal. Thank God we didn't lose, right? That's all I want to say. Thank God we didn't lose that game. On to Minnesota. Hey, isn't that what Belichick used to say? We're on to Miami. We're on to Minnesota. We're on to Locked On Brewers a little bit later on tonight. Next edition of Locked On Brewers. Please subscribe.
Dodgers look for a sweep of the Padres.
A game that didn't have much excitement for 8 innings, got really exciting in the 9th inning for a few reasons. Unfortunately, the Dodgers fall short, drop at 5-3. What's up? This is Jeff Snyder from Locked On Dodgers. Dodgers lose to the Padres to keep from sweeping the series. They still win 3 out of 4. They were down 5-0 in the 9th inning. Jack Little in his major league debut hit Fernando Tatis with a pitch. Mike Schilt, who has no feel for the game of baseball apparently, ran out and challenged everybody in the world to a fight. And Dave Roberts said, I'm somebody in the world. I'll fight you. They got in each other's faces. Benches cleared. Both Schilt and Roberts were ejected. Of course, Jack Little wasn't, because of course he wasn't throwing at him, you idiot. But anyway, Dodgers put up 3 runs in the bottom of the 9th inning. Robert Suarez intentionally hit Shohei Ohtani. He was ejected. I assume the bench coach was ejected too at that point. Anyway, the Dodgers had a chance to tie the game. Runners in, tying run on second base with Dalton rushing up to the plate, but he struck out to end the game. Dodgers lose. They still win 3 out of 4. They are now done with the 29-game gauntlet. That was really tough. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about all the 9th inning extracurriculars and the surprising demotion of Emmett Sheehan on Locked On Dodgers on YouTube, wherever you get podcasts.
And the Cardinals duel with the White Sox.
Nolan Arenado hits a historic home run as the St. Louis Cardinals sweep the doubleheader in Chicago and sweep the series against the White Sox. Hey, it's JD from Locked On Cardinals, and after coming from behind in Game 1 to get the 5-4 victory, the Cardinals decided, let's flip the script and blow a big lead before getting the win in 10 innings in Game 2. The Cardinals got home runs from Alec Burleson and Nolan Arenado to jump out to a 6-1 lead. Nolan Arenado's was his 350th of his Hall of Fame career, making him just the 7th player in Major League history with 350-plus home runs and 10 or more Gold Gloves. Michael McGreevy got the spot start. He was strong over 5 innings, but the bullpen coughs up the lead on a grand slam by Andrew Benintendi. In the 10th inning, an RBI single by Arenado gave the Cardinals a 7-6 lead. Then you get a solo blast from Lars Nootbaar. He adds the insurance. Cards win at 8-6. A day to remember for Andre Granillo. Gets his first Major League win in Game 1 and then first Major League save in Game 2. Big sweep for the Cardinals, who now host the Reds for 3 in St. Louis. For the latest updates and info, be sure to keep it Locked On Cardinals.
The Thunder got smoked in Game 6 of the NBA Finals. Locked On Thunder host Rylan Stiles recaps an embarrassing Game 6 and looks ahead to the series finale on Sunday.
When this game started, OKC goes on a 10-2 run to start the game, and it felt like, okay, the Pacers are missing shots, the Thunder's defense is forcing misses, and they're doing their normal stuff of their defense allowing them to buy their offense some time until they settle in. And then from there, Indiana went on a 22-7 run that OKC just could not recover from as the Pacers rolled from beyond the arc. The Pacers had more urgency. They had more force. They had more desperation. They had more effort than Oklahoma City. The Pacers looked like a team that had their backs against the wall because they did. And Oklahoma City did not match that. And that's one of the big lessons from this postseason run. The Thunder can still win the NBA championship. And I think that, most people would pick the Thunder to win an NBA championship in Game 7. But one thing that they can't get back now with this missed opportunity is the ability to show that you can recreate a sense of artificial desperation, artificial urgency. Because we've said it on this show. The Thunder are excellent at responding when they get hit in the mouth. This team's only lost consecutive games twice all season. And those 2 times, once when they didn't have a center, and once whenever they had the 1 seed wrapped up. That's it. That's the entire list of consecutive losses for Oklahoma City. They've been excellent at responding to losses in the postseason with, again, not losing 2 straight games, with washing out bad games and flushing them with great ones the next outing. And they're going to have to do it again in Game 7. And I think that they will do it again in Game 7 as a spoiler alert to the prediction and preview portion of the coming days. But what they can't prove now is that they can replicate that level of urgency when times are going good. When times are going good, can they carry the momentum of a Game 5 into a Game 6? They didn't in Denver. They didn't in Indiana, in this playoff run in round 2 and now the NBA Finals. I think that the closest that they've gotten to that would be the Minnesota series that they did end in 5 after bouncing back in Game 4, following the blowout loss in Game 3, then winning Game 5 at home. But even in that, where you go from being up 2-0 against Minnesota to being blown out in Game 3 and being non-competitive in Game 3, like not having the urgency that you needed to have in that game on the road, like that's another lesson, an example of the Thunder. I don't want to say necessarily being complacent. Maybe that's too heavy-handed, but it boils down to complacency. It's no shock that like their worst outings this playoffs, Game 3 against Memphis, after being up 2-0 and doing so in historic fashion, like quite literally historic blowout fashion. Game 3 Against Minnesota, we just talked about the lopsided loss. They had a letdown in Game 6 against Denver, a letdown in Game 6 against Indiana. And Denver's Game 6 never got to this proportions where it was like you were bludgeoned. Like you weren't bludgeoned on the scoreboard in Game 6 against Denver. But in Game 6 against Denver for 48 minutes felt like Denver was in control. So did this game for Indiana. So the Thunder's ability to respond has been great. They've got to learn now to take the next step and be tone setters, and that's something that they have to do in the future. And that's part of this, right? Whenever we talk about when the Thunder can still grow and can still improve in future years, that's not just something to say. That's not just coach speak. That's not just something to prop up the resume. There are tangible things that this team can get better in, and they can get better at understanding the moment in front of them before it's too late. Because the reason why I say they can't do it this year is Game 7 is a response. It's not a tone setting. Game 7 is there's no artificial desperation. It's just desperation. There's no artificial urgency. It's just urgency. Like that's real whole cane sugar. That's not Splenda in Game 7. They need to figure out how to use some Splenda in Oklahoma City. And they'll have to do that next season, even if they're champions. It's like, even if they're champions, they're still going to have at least one tangible way among many more that they can actually improve. And, this game was a game that the Thunder were never going to win. I mean, when Indiana wins the bench points 48-37 with the caveat, it's 48-37 with the caveat that they had 31, the Thunder did, points off the bench in the fourth quarter in absolute garbage time. You were spotted 31 bench points in the fourth quarter, and you still lost bench points 48-37. You can't win shooting 41% from the floor, 26% from three, and 80% at the charity stripe. It's not a winning recipe to be outshot from the three-point line 15 makes to 8.
Stay up to date all year on the Oklahoma City Thunder by subscribing to Locked On Sports today and Locked On Thunder on your favorite podcast app and on YouTube. Coming up, the Ole Miss Rebels are looking to take SEC basketball by storm this season. The Ole Miss Rebels are primed for a massive year 3 under head coach Chris Beard. Locked On Ole Miss host Stephen Willis sat down with Coach Beard to discuss the hype around the Rebs.
Yeah, I don't know about better. We'll see. It's early. Be a good question for February, March. But I do think that we put a roster together that has a lot of versatility. We've got a lot of guys that can play multiple positions. We've got some length and some athleticism and just some physical toughness this year, which should translate to us being a good defensive team. We got some guys that can switch different positions. On offense, we have a lot of players that can do different things. We're not going to be a team that has to rely on one ball handler or one post-up player or one shooter. I do like the variety in our roster. We like the positionless player. Years ago in recruiting, people would always, kind of recruit against us saying we don't have the traditional 2 or the traditional 3. Now basketball has kind of swung the other way, where we're kind of popular in that regard. So to me, it always kind of starts in the NBA and trickles down. The NBA used to be a league where there was a huge difference between a 2 and a 3 or a 5 and a 4. But we all know basketball has changed, and we all know it's a dribble, pass, shoot game. The more things you can do on the court as an individual player, the more value you bring to your team. So we've got some guys that fit that mode. And then we've got some guys that we've got to develop into that mode. We got some guys, that they've got the dribble and pass down, but the shot's got to come along. We've got some guys that can do a lot of things, but the ball handling's got to get along. So ultimately, that's our dream one day, is to have a team where we have 8 or 9 guys that are literally all, interchangeable parts. We're not quite there on our roster right now, but with player development over time, we visualize that we could be that kind of team come February and March.
And before I let you go, season tickets, how are we doing on season tickets? And Rebel Nation's pretty excited about men's basketball, which is a pretty rare thing over the history of Ole Miss basketball. You have them kind of going. Anything you want to say to them, and how season tickets going?
Yeah, I appreciate you bringing that up. The first thing is a thank you for everybody in the past that supported our program, buying season tickets, coming to games. I can't emphasize that enough. It's the bloodline of the program in a lot of ways, our student body and our season ticket holders. And so first is thank you. And I've always been a guy that understands that people have decisions, where you put your time and money. It's not like we're the only show in town. And so for people to invest their time and money in supporting Ole Miss basketball, it's a thank you. We're open for business. The ticket office is open right now. The season ticket packages are coming out. I think the renewals start on July 1st, which is right around the corner. But new season tickets are open right now. I would say, and it's not coaching speak, this is the truth. There are a limited number available. We visualize a day very soon, where season tickets will be completely sold out. So anybody that's considering it or thinking about it, I would encourage them to do it now and not later. You wait till football season's over and basketball starts. There's going to be a limited number, if any, available at that time. So anybody that's considering buying new season tickets, now's the time. And they just encourage everybody that had them last year. We hope that everybody renews and continues to support, the team. And we really appreciate it. We're breaking records here every day. I think last year we had a season program record number of season tickets sold. The challenge continues to be, once the season tickets are sold, to try to get people in those seats every single night. And I really want to thank everybody. The message was strong last year, but I think our season ticket holders know that we're just trying to help. We're not harping on anybody. We know that it's impossible to come to every single game, but it's more than possible for our season ticket holders to take the time and effort on the nights that they can't come to the game and give those seats to Ole Miss Rebels. Let's get Ole Miss people in those seats. But we are going in the right direction for sure. We're trending in the right direction. This third-year team, we're looking forward to taking the next step.
Yeah, and if Ole Miss fans want to look at the journey, just look at what happened at Auburn. Similar style arena, but with that atmosphere now is pretty much second to none.
Yeah, I would agree. Similar size town, arena, and what those guys have done there, we have nothing but respect for. And we're doing the same. I think our growth from year 1 to 2 was real. It was tangible. Everybody can see it. And now the next step is, let's take this from being one of the best environments in college basketball to that next category and make it the best. We got a great fan base. We got great facilities. We got a great student body. And so I think, keeping the expectations high together, there's no doubt in my mind that we can't keep moving the needle.
And finally, the Fever might have gotten their spark back. Now they're without a coach. With head coach Stephanie White away from the team for personal reasons, Indiana is leaning on assistant Austin Kelly to hold things down. Fortunately, Caitlin Clark has returned, and if her recent performances are any indication, she's more than ready to lead the charge. And if anyone has a problem with that, Sophie Cunningham will take care of it. If you're catching this episode after hearing your favorite Locked On show, make sure to subscribe to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss an episode. Also, if you're a new subscriber to Locked On Sports Today, we're here for you with the biggest stories in sports every day. Coming up, is it time for the NBA to crown the Thunder as champion, or can the Pacers sneak in there and steal one? So at least until tomorrow, stay locked on sports today.
Locked On Podcast Network presents Locked On Sports Today.
For more episodes of Locked On Sports Today, go to our video on demand. Click on sports at the top of your screen. There, you'll find past episodes of Locked On Sports Today, plus other Locked On shows on demand.